Student Clubs PDEU. Now, with beginning, the reason why we exist is to help students bridge the gap between theory and practice. We learn a lot of things in our undergraduate and graduate programs, but there's a thing between theory and practice, and that's the gap that we aim to bridge. Now, who are we exactly? We are a student community affiliated by Google from students, for students, and by students. We are completely run by a group of students. We'll get to the departments and the people who are involved in GDSC PDEU later. But we are from students, for students, and by students. Now, what exactly do we do? Now, first priority is always to host events and workshops so that we can teach people and we can help them bridge the gap from learning the theory in class to actually building projects and understanding and gaining skills. The other thing is that we promote and help startups. So if any startups are aimed at solving problems that are widespread and they really aim to just make sure that they are making the world a better place and they want technical input from us, then we help and promote the startups. We also have open discussion forums. At the end of this meeting, this event, we'll share a Discord link. So we have our complete community based upon the Discord, and you can ask questions that you can interact with the mentors, with me, with the secretary, with anyone from the team, right? And finally, we help the student community. We are here to help you. That's the reason why we exist. Now, first of all, here is our GitHub account. So if you just go to github.com/DSC PDEU, this page will come up, and this is where we are on GitHub. And then this is our official page of GDSC community. You can just type in Pandit Deendayal Energy University Gandhinagar GDSC, and it will be on the top of your search engine results. And by the way, you can click on this join us button, and whenever we post any new events, then those events, the reminder as well as the mail stating that there is a new event will be sent to you in the mail from which you have joined. And you can also see the upcoming events here, and if you just scroll a little bit down, then you'll also be able to see the previous events, right? So this particular website, this particular page is where you will get all the information about our events. Now, getting into the departments, we have 7 main departments. The first is AIML, other one is application development, blockchain, cybersecurity, content team. The content team comprises of public relations and graphic design. We have open source and we have website development. I'll give 5 minutes to each of the departments so that they can talk about the departments and tell us about their future plans and what they are aiming to do in the next 12 months. Okay, but before we begin, who am I? I'm Gohil. I'm Google DSC Lead for this particular year, 2021-2022. I'm also Microsoft LSA Beta, IBMG Ambassador, Angel Hack Ambassador, Intel Studio Ambassador, Deep Learning.ai Ambassador, and an author and a researcher. I've written 3 research papers, 2 conference papers, and I recently wrote a book. So, and that book will be also published within few months. So, I'll also be an author soon. So that's pretty much me. Okay. Now here we have GDSC advisor, who is Jairang. Now Jairang is the ex-DSC lead, which means that he was the Google DSC lead last year, 2020-2021. He is also GitHub campus expert, Microsoft LSA beta, and Facebook PyTorch scholar. I'm not sure if he was able to join this meeting. So Jai, if you can just confirm whether he's here or not?
No, he is not here.
Okay, no issue. He mentioned that he won't be able to attend. No problem. And then we have the faculty advisor. We have a faculty advisor, Dr. Hardik Patel. He is the assistant professor, Information and Communication Technology, School of Technology. So, sir, if you want to say something to the event participants, then it would be great.
Yes, I still remember the day when GitHub was started. They approached me, told, sir, can you guide me? Wanted to lead this activity. So he took the initiative. Jairang took the initiative, and we started with this GitHub chapter at the PDEU. And then he came up with the idea, sir, can we have something like DSC, Google DSC Developer Student Club at PDEU? Now we are PDEU. So I told him, you can go ahead with this initiative. I can help you out. Right. So he told me that you just need to be a bridge between our student community and this DSC. So whatever events we are going to conduct, you need to forward everything to students. So there is an impact, and students actually participate with full enthusiasm. That this faculty mentor is there, and he is always there to guide the DSC club, right? And
Yes, sir.
whatever events are actually conducted by Jai Rank and his team, now DSC, right? Uh, all the events are really useful. So please participate in all the events which are actually conducted by DSC club or any other club for that matter. DSC is specifically meant for students. Actually, it is right for the student, by the student, and of the student. Right, I must say. So thank you. I congratulate Jai Gohil. Now he is leading this activity. So my best wishes to Jai Gohil and his team. Right.
Yeah.
So congratulations.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Okay, so thank you, sir, for the input. Now we also have faculty. So we actually have GDSC mentors, not faculty mentors. So GDSC mentors are people from industry who have a lot of experience in technology management, and I have actually managed to have 3 really reputed people to be the GDSC mentors for this year. We have Jaideep Prasad, who is also going to be the speaker for the next event, which is Git and GitHub workshop. He is. I will actually talk a little bit more about him in the session itself. He is kind of reputed and he has a lot of experience in tech. We have Swadhya Bose and we have the Ben Ganguly. These 2 folks are also really reputed and they have a lot of experience in the field. So I'm really thrilled and in a way I really respect the fact that they have agreed to be the GDSC mentors for the next 12 months. So yeah, we have these GDSC mentors. And then we have the board team. I'll actually, give it to you, Jai Patel. You can talk about what exactly board team does, and yeah, you can take it forward now.
Yeah. So hello everyone. I am Patel Jai and I am currently pursuing my 3rd year in a field of ICT from PDEU. And I will be serving this year as a general secretary for GDSC PDEU. I am also a full stack web developer with intermediate experience and worked on some projects in that domain. I love to contribute to communities, so I am also part of several communities. And if you want to talk about tech stuff or any career guidance, then we will surely connect in future. And also talking about the bot team, with me there is Khushi Anand, which will be our public relation lead, Vruti Dobaria, which will be our graphic designing lead, and for this month we will have Nachiket Soni and Mihir Shah as a technical lead. And talking about the work system of a boot team, so basically boot team has to see the management that is being see the work that is being done in all the department and have to manage all these things. So yeah, Jai, you can go ahead now. Jai, you are on mute.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah. So I'll actually, give it to the department leads. So Kevin and Mala, you folks can, go ahead with, the introduction of your department and all the stuff. All right. I just, give it to you folks. You can talk about your department and whatever we have on the PPT. Malay, by the way, you are muted.
Sorry. My name is Malay Damani and I am in 3rd year PDU pursuing computer science. And I will be the AI/ML lead along with Kevin. So the machine learning ML and AI have started to gain traction over the past few years. And today, nearly every emerging startup is trying to leverage these technologies to attract funding and disrupt the traditional markets. And it's true that the companies which are using AI and ML as buzzwords in their pitch are more likely to attract the external investments than their counterparts who are still working with the traditional and the mainstream tech. But still, apart from all this hype around machine learning, how will it be applicable in solving the real life everyday problems? And when does it make sense to use this instead of traditional software programming or even integrating them both, that is, integrating traditional programming with AI programs? So the GDSC AI/ML lead will be exploring these issues by describing the various types of machine learning and AI models with its basic principles. And for the leads, as I explained, me, Malay, and Kevin are the leads. Our core team members are Khushali Patel, Nandan, and Sachin Gupta. Nandan Kaparia and Sachin Gupta. And our community is you guys. Every one of you who joins our Discord server or connects with us. Yes.
Okay, so guys, I'm Kevin D'Souza. I'm another lead alongside Malay. So right now I'm just gonna give you an introduction to machine learning, artificial intelligence, and deep learning. So basically you see three terms on your screen right now. So one of them is artificial intelligence, one is machine learning, and the other is deep learning. So let's just begin with machine learning. I'm assuming you guys don't know much about it. So imagine a child or a baby when it, in the beginning, the baby does not know anything. It knows absolutely nothing about the world. And as it grows up, it gains experience. And with that experience, it learns how to do certain tasks, right? It learns how to talk, which is how to use its vocal cords properly. No one will teach the baby how to use its vocal cords, or, there's no parent in the world that will tell the baby to use how to use its vocal cords. So the baby learns that by itself. Now, if you apply the same logic to computers, it becomes machine learning. So by machine, we're usually talking about computers. So machine learning is basically the computer learning by itself how to perform a certain task using the experience it has got, right? So without experience, no one can learn anything. So it's the same thing with computers. It needs experience to learn. Now, when we talk about AI includes machine learning. But it also includes something that's not machine learning, something that's actually the opposite of machine learning. So it includes, so let's say you write a C++ program or a Python program. It is a rigid code that tells the computer exactly what to do, how to do it, when to do it. It tells it everything, right? So the computer does not need to learn anything. It already knows everything. It knows exactly what to do. But it is still accomplishing a task. And so that's why we call it artificial intelligence. It is mimicking human behavior as it is written here. So yeah, it's still AI. It's a form of AI, but it's not machine learning because there's no learning involved. You guys have probably already done part of AI, which is the not learning part. But nowadays, usually companies and everything have been using the buzzword of AI so much that it has just been related to machine learning all the time. Now, if you see AI in the news or anywhere, it's usually talking about machine learning. And lastly, deep learning. Deep learning is just performing machine learning, but using neural networks. Now, if you guys don't know, you probably know, but you have neurons in your brain, and you guys are able to understand my words because there are neurons and networks of neurons in your brain that are firing together to understand English. And that's how you guys are understanding my words. So deep learning is just modeling the human brain to perform tasks of machine learning. Machine learning has a bunch of algorithms, and deep learning is one of them. So yeah, that's the explanation of the three terms.
All right, great. Thanks, Malay and Kevin. Now we'll
Is that-
move forward. Yeah. Oh, okay,
There's-
okay. Yeah, I guess that's one more slide. Yeah. Sorry for that.
So
Go ahead.
I'll just be quick right now. So we'll be having workshops on deep learning and machine learning from both the leads and the core team, as well as industry experts that we'll be calling from outside PDU who are really, really good at what they do. And then we'll be building a strong community So right now, if you join the Discord after this meeting, you'll have a bunch of channels like AI, blockchain, etc. And in the AI channel, you'll find roadmaps, you'll find resources, you'll find blogs and everything that we can give you guys to make you better at this field. Right now, there's not much there, but in the future, you'll have all of this and more. And then we'll have competitions and hackathons. Of course, we'll be hosting competitions so that you guys can
Right.
have fun
So
beating your friends.
moving, yeah. All right. So moving forward, we now have application development, something that a lot of you folks would like. So I would ask,
Yeah.
Dhruv, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Jay. I'll not consume a lot of your time in explaining what's application development. As you all know, it's just another branch of IT industry with over 111 billion market revenue in just 2020. So moving forward, I'm the lead, Dhruv in application development.
Hey guys, I'm Devansh Shah. I'm the co-lead along with Dhruv in app development.
And we have our core team members, Kunj Kanani and Siddharth Singh Rathore with us, helping us a lot in our team. We are planning a community which will be open for all those who want to learn new things and develop skills in the app development domain. Can we go? Yeah. Talking about our future goals, we have planned a lot of things this year. These two are sure, and we are planning it big. And our study jams and Flutter campaign are two of our flagship events, which we'll be having from app development team in GDSC PDEU.
Okay, so no,
just
Jai,
okay. Wait,
the
I
previous
guess.
slide.
No problem.
Yeah, all right.
Okay, so our
It
aim
happens.
is to like build a community. As Kevin mentioned, you will be asked to join the Discord server, so you can interact with us, share your doubts with us, and we can build amazing apps together. Jai, next.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll give you a brief overview of tools and technologies we can use to build apps. So first is building native Android apps. We can use these apps in our Android smartphones. Java and Kotlin are the two languages which can be used to develop these apps. The second is native iOS apps. Objective-C and Swift are the two languages we can use. And the third is cross platform, so you can build app on native and native iOS together. The three technologies are Flutter, in which you use Dart programming language to build Flutter apps. Then the next one is React Native. You use JavaScript to develop. And the third one is Xamarin, which is not used widely, but you can use it. It's C# is used for it. So that's a brief overview about it.
All right,
And
great.
I have just
Yeah,
a question for all the guys. We have around 60 people here. So anyone can guess how many apps are there in Play Store right now?
That's a good question. Anyone wants to take a guess?
We are from GDSC. You are allowed to Google search too.
Yeah.
In millions, I think.
Anyone?
In millions. I know the exact number.
Yeah, it's around 1.85 million. So it would be now around 18.5 lakhs. I guess we can make 50 to 60 ourselves, right? Just add a little bit of contribution to it. So that's all about our team. Jay, you can continue.
Yeah. So as Dhruv mentioned that we'll be actually working on a lot of projects. Be the project that we create as a part of solutions challenge. We'll discuss about that sometime later. But we can create that as a part of the application development department or the website development department. And I'm actually mentioning this right now because Hacktober Fest is going on, right? And it's all about open source. And we'll actually have a really good discussion about Hacktober Fest as well as open source at the very end. But just to mention it here that we are all up for projects. So even if you have 3 or 4 folks who just want to just start a project and maybe get help from GDSC, then just do let us know. We have a lot of good folks here. We also have good mentors. And most probably just contact us, and if we can't solve it, then we'll reach out to our mentors because we don't want to Just like take a lot of their time. They have been good enough to become our mentors. But for sure, we will always be there to help you with any projects. And of course, Dhruv, I hope we can at least cross 10 to 20 projects in app this year.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. Now moving forward, we have blockchain. And
Hello everyone.
yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Hello everyone. My name is Smith Sakria. I am currently in third year PDEU computer branch. So maybe all you are folks, you know the blockchain, the booming words currently. I am a blockchain department lead along with Marcy Pandya, and the Kenil Getia and the Harsh Patel are our core team member of the blockchain department. So blockchain community of PDEU is open for everyone who want to explore, learn and develop new skills in blockchain domain. So next please. Okay, some of you are familiar with blockchain and maybe some of you are not, but I think you all are here about the cryptocurrency, the booming words. So blockchain is the technology which used behind the cryptocurrency, and currently blockchain is the most demanded skills in IT industry. There is a huge demand for the particular this technology. Here you can see the LinkedIn Learning Skill Report, which is released in 2020. And here the number one technical skill is not other than the blockchain. And by 2025, the business value added by the blockchain will grow to more than $176 billion and then exit to $3.1 trillion at the end of 2030. This is according to a Gartner report. So maybe you clearly see that what is the future of blockchain technology in almost all industries like government and public sector, finance, insurance, real estate, media and entertainment and so on. But the blockchain is emerging technology so that the student confused from where they have to start learning. So don't worry about that. We are planning this year so many events for you folks. Marcy will give you a rough idea about the expected future events of the blockchain department. So over to you, Marcy.
Thank you, Smith. I will carry on from here. So we as a blockchain team have thought of many events, many excitement-filled events, which will help you learn the A to Z of blockchain technology. So these events include bringing in expert speakers from the industry, which will talk about the fundamentals, the foundations, and the use cases and the future of blockchain. So if you're not familiar with the technology in itself, it will help you be familiar with it. Next on the list, we have many workshops. Like we can do a workshop on implementing our own blockchain in any programming language, or a workshop on Solidity language. So that you can learn the concepts, the core concepts of the blockchain and the language in itself. Then we have many boot camps which will help us to create our own crypto tokens and NFTs. They are really the buzzwords of today. So crypto tokens and NFTs, if you guys don't know what it is, then we will help you learn the things in it. And at last, we will have hackathon on the blockchain projects, which will include all the things which you will learn in the previous events and then link them in this hackathon. So if you have any blockchain project, or if you have any blockchain project in your mind, so you can develop it in the hackathon and then we can move forward with it. And at last, we will have an open discussion on various blockchain protocols and the blockchain technology in general. So this event will be at last, so that all the things which we have learned in the previous events will be summarized into this one single open discussion. So lastly, I will just like to say you that blockchain is really tremendously growing today, and literally everyone is trying to incorporate this technology in their tech stack and trying to build many startups and many projects with it. So I hope you guys join us and we can make this community better day by day. So thank you.
Okay, thanks, and Marcy. Blockchain is really an interesting topic because, as I said, that we have a lot of potential with blockchain, and just because of the fact that it's emerging, you can actually get a lot of opportunities which are like literally not known to anyone. So definitely keep a look into blockchain in future, right? And moving forward, we have cybersecurity. So I'll hand it over to you, Ne.
Okay, hey there. I am Neha Patel, and I am current year cybersecurity lead, and I am in second year of PDEU and in CE department. Yeah, by looking present scenario, cybersecurity is core topic because internet use is day by day increasing, and yeah, there's our community. I am lead Neha Patel, and with me there is core team member Vyomis Jethava and Namya Vyas. Okay, Jay, you can go ahead. Yeah, this is our future planning, like workshop and webinar on cybersecurity and ethical hacking, also web application penetration testing, and yeah, from basics, introduction to Linux, and yeah, basic tools. We have group discussions on zero-day vulnerabilities, like if there is zero-day attacks on like anywhere on world, we will discuss all the stuff in this meeting. Competition like capture the flag and introduction to hack the box and try hack me virtual labs. Also, we are thinking about together getting an event with other department, like if there is a college and they are also interested in capture the flags and all the challenge, we will go together with our community. Okay, last and least, introduction to OWASP top 10 vulnerabilities and real world penetration testing with bug bounties. Also, like ultimate aim is like complete certified ethical hackers exam with at least 4 people of this community, and the community is open for all the people who are interested in cybersecurity. Yeah, yes, Jay, you can go ahead.
Okay, yeah, that's great. And I would actually like to mention here that Ne is literally the most active person currently we have in GDSC, and he is really into providing help to the community. He makes sure that he provides resources to the community. As of now, we actually used to have the community on WhatsApp, but now we are moving forward to Discord because that's just more feasible to handle. But he has been providing a lot of resources, a lot of learning material. If there are any opportunities, then he says them. So if you're into cybersecurity, then definitely make sure that you contact Ne because he's really good into it and he's also into helping a lot of people.
Okay,
Okay.
don't worry about yeah, like I don't know about Linux, and we will start from beginning. So if
Yeah.
anyone want to join community, they can join official GDS's Discord server.
Yeah, we'll provide the Discord servers link at the end, and actually there's a lot of in the store for you folks, so just stick around. After this, we have the open source department, something that all of you might be interested in because of Hacktoberfest. And if you don't know about Hacktoberfest, then you should definitely stick to the end because we'll be having a lot of conversation about it. Okay, over to you, Mihir and Nachiket.
Okay. Hello, I am Mihir Shah, and I, along with Nachiket Soni, am the department lead for open source. Our core team comprises of Parikshit Agarwal and Nirbhay Parmar. Now, talking about open source, it is a very vast topic, and but unfortunately, many developers do not know about it. So, and they do definitely know about some programs like GSOC. And talking about GSOC, Nachiket here has actually done GSOC this year and has a tremendous knowledge about open source. So, over to you, Nachiket.
Thank you, Mihir. Thank you for introducing me. And since we are on the topic of Google Summer of Code, or in general open source, I think it's important to understand the fundamentals of what open source is. So the first thing that when I searched open source, this was the definition that popped up: having the source code freely available for possible modifications and redistribution. What this simply means is that you have some piece of code that you would want to share with the outside world without any monetary gains. But I feel that this definition is really incomplete. The reason is because open source is an ideology that has been manifested by a lot of intellectual individuals who believe in pro-consumerism. Okay, too many large words, but I'm going to explain them. So the first thing that I talk about is a community which likes to share things that they make. They would share things so that other people can look into it, better it, and make it useful for the society. That's where the whole portion of collaboration comes in, and that's where the portion of accessibility of source code and accessibility of people who might not know what is going on comes in. You see, there are a lot of things in open source, and many of them are there because the community exists, and you might be wondering what the green logo is on the bottom right corner of the screen, and it's not Reliance, it's the open source initiative. So please take care to mention like there's a difference there. Moving on. We'll be talking about the events and the future plans that we have. So as Mihir mentioned earlier, that open source is a really broad domain. Like technically it covers all the things that GDSC this year would be doing, right? We will be like open source will be involved in some way or the other with every event that GDSC does. And most of the things on the internet are there because there is free access to the internet, open source, you see. Coming to the planned events that we have, except for the things that GDSC has planned, is one thing, Hacktober Fest participation. As Jai has been mentioning that we will be having a small segment there. And I would also like to mention that we also have a full-fledged event on Sunday from 11 a.m. Where we'll be discussing what Hacktober Fest is, how you can participate, and how like we are also collaborating with other GDSCs from other colleges. Right. Moving on to the next event that we plan is the introduction to licenses. Now, licenses are something that people think that is a very legal thing, but then that legal thing is the sole reason that your code is authorized to you or is protected, and you have your rights to the code. And hence, we feel it's really necessary for every person who dabbles into open source or just dabbles into coding and development needs to know about licenses. Because many a times a wrong license can really jeopardize your own software or your own code. And as many other departments mentioned, we would be helping them in organizing coding hackathons as well as have some of our own. Now, those may or may not be open for all, but anything that there is, we'll communicate it through our social media handles on LinkedIn as well as Instagram. Now, coming to the right, these are the objectives that we have placed this year that we want to achieve, and one of them is that we want students and like everyone who attends our events to have a better understanding of open source and how it works and how it's a really beautiful community of people who just love to share things. And as every department has mentioned, they want to build a community, and so do we. We are not different, right? And we might actually steal some people from other departments as well and have them work in open source. But yeah, anyway, thank you. That's all from us.
All right, great, Nachiket. So open source is really going to be at the heart of everything that we are going to do in the next 12 months. So just keep an eye for that. The event that we are going to have on Sunday is with, I think, 3 or 4 GDSs, right? And a lot of folks will be joining, and we're actually going to have entire repositories where you can contribute and all that stuff. We'll talk about that at the end, where if you have any further questions or if you want to discuss about Hacktoberfest, then you can stay around. And if you don't, then you are free to leave, right? So I don't want to waste time of you folks. So only if you're interested, you can stay around. Otherwise, you may leave. Not right now, by the way. I'm talking about the end. All right, now we have public relations and graphic design. Now they are together called content team, right? So over to you, Khushi and Vruti.
Hi. So hi everyone, I'm Khushi Anand. I'm pursuing BB Honors from PDEU, and I'm the public relations lead at GDSC. And I have extensive experience in the field of marketing as well as running online ads. Vruti, if you could introduce yourself.
Yes. So hello everyone, I'm Vruti Robaria. I'm currently in second year pursuing computer engineering, and I'm a GD lead for this year. And with me, I have Anmol Singh and Rajan Smagat. Okay, so yes.
So together we both form the content team. I have Ahmed Mullah under me, and Vruti has Anmol and Rajan under the graphic designing department. Jay, if you could move forward. Yeah, so under public relations, we solely handle the ideating of how to publicize the event and to spread awareness about GDSC throughout our college and even outside, maybe through social media posts and spreading it across LinkedIn, Instagram, Discord, and other community channels. So we maintain the social media feed of GDSC and make sure that we reach a lot of individuals outside. Vruti, you can take over.
Yes. So what we do in graphic designing is we make posters and graphics for all our events that our technical leads will be organizing and help them achieve as many viewers as we can. And we are also responsible for to handle social media and make sure everything is posted up to date. Yes, Kushi.
Yes, that's it from my end.
Okay, sure. So we'll keep moving forward. By the way, the contenting is the I would say backbone of just us reaching to people who really need help, right? So like really kudos to you. You folks don't know what goes in the back end, but they do really tremendous amount of work. So really kudos to them. And then finally we have web development, something that a lot of you folks love. So I would ask Ketul and Shreya to introduce the department and tell us a little bit more about it. Yeah, over to you, Ketul and Shreya.
Yeah, thanks, Jeff. Hello, everyone. I am Kedul Chaya, web dev lead at GDSC, along with Shreya Srivastava. We are also having a core web team consisting of 2 members, namely Hardeep and Gaurav. And apart from that, we have also an open community group wherein everybody is being invited. Those who have interest in learning web dev, want to explore themselves, or want to gain some skills by working on several projects, they are mostly welcome. Talking about the field of web development, please turn around. Yes, talking about the field of web development, I can say that mostly it is being categorized into 2 parts, front end and the back end. Front end, we can also say a client side development, and back end, as we all know, server side development. But what is the use of it? Like if we can learn this domain, what are its benefits and advantages? So talking about that, I can say that by learning this domain, you can create your own portfolio websites just by only front end, and also wherein you can showcase your skills, your accomplishments, your certificates, and a lot more. Moreover, if you have an idea of startup, then one can go showcase their own business idea through creation of website, and also one can go for freelancing work as well. So in a nutshell, I would like to say that if someone learns this domain, then there is no doubt on looking for the opportunities in this field. And talking about the industries right now, see, earlier the industries were strictly bounded with the same old web technologies, and in order to develop a full stack website, we are required to learn more than 1 programming languages. But at present, it is not the case particularly. Things have been changed. Like it is an option available to us that we can now design a full-fledged front end and back end website using only 1 programming languages and using only 1 programming language. And nowadays the stacks are being introduced, which ultimately helps the developer for overall workflow of the website development. And also the emergence of npm packages and libraries, or we can say frameworks of several front end and back end, has benefited the developers in a very large scale, I can say. And mostly it is being used in order to have excuse me just a second. Yeah. So NPM packages and frameworks and libraries are being used in order to have ease of development process and have a faster and efficient manageable way code. So in order to join our community, you can learn new things, you can explore this field, you can have some experience of this field by joining our Discord community server. The links will be shared to you later. And also this year we are also going to organize some events and workshops as well, or we can say campaigns, the details for which Shreya will tell you further. Shreya, over to you.
Thank you, Ketu. Jay, can you move forward?
Yeah, so after this particular slide, the introduction to web development.
Yeah, after this.
All right, okay.
Regarding events, we will be having 2 events in web development, and both the events will be tutorial based, where we will be teaching you about front-end and back-end development so that you get familiar with a few concepts. In one event, we will be teaching you about the JavaScript library React. It is very important to know React if you are aiming to become a good front-end developer. In the other event, we will be explaining you the concepts of Node.js, Express, and MongoDB. All these concepts are very important and will help you achieve your goals of designing a website or web application, or to become a front-end, back-end, or a full-stack web developer. So please join these events when they take place, as they'll help you get started in this domain of web development. Thank you.
And I would like to add further one point that the topics for the campaigns are not being decided yet, since we are taking the response from the audience. So whatever will be on the priority, like what the audience wants, we will try to reflect in it our campaign. Yes. Yeah, thanks, Jay. That is from our side. You can continue further.
All right. Okay. So that was it for the introductory session, folks. You can follow us on Instagram, LinkedIn, and on the GDSC community platform from this particular links. You can take a snapshot, or you can just open Google Lens and just open the links there. You can also go to any of our profiles, and we have the remaining links on each and every profile, so don't worry about that. We'll also share the Discord as well as the Linktree link, so that you can get access to all the platforms and like all the places that we are present, and you can stay in connection with us. All right. Now, this is not the end, of course. This was just the first part. The second part is the Git and GitHub workshop by Jaideep Bhaiya. I'll just take a break of 5 minutes. The break isn't actually a break, so you folks can actually turn on your mic and have a little discussion over here. All right. At 6 p.m. We'll start with the next session, and we'll have Jaideep Bhaiya, showing us everything about Git and GitHub, Hacktober Fest, and everything else. Right, Jai, you can take the lead right now. Folks, you can just unmute your mic, ask us questions or anything.
Yeah.
Within 7 minutes, we'll start the next event. I was audible, right, Jay?
Yeah, you are audible.
Okay, all right. And by the way, Jay, if folks don't have any questions, then you can just share your screen and show people about our GitHub organization, our LinkedIn, and all that stuff.
Yeah, I will do that.
Okay.
Yeah, I will wait for just 1 or 2 minutes. If anybody have any question related to any department, or want to start or want to switch any domain and want to hear more about from that domain, from their leads, so they can just come up and ask their questions.
Yeah. Okay, I'll just unshare my screen, and you can just maybe keep the official platform open, the GDSC community one, and folks can just see that. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so just a quick question for you folks, that how many of you are planning to participate in the Hacktober Fest? Okay, I can see some hand raised.
Yeah, okay. In this time, can you explain the events? Like what is it and all the stuff?
Yeah, so I would like to take over Mirza if you can, because they are the
Yes.
our open source lead.
Sure, sure. So basically, Hacktober is a October-long event where it aims to improve the open source community and generally give back to the community. So you can participate in that event, and you just have to go to the official Hacktober website and register yourself through your GitHub ID. And on the in the entire month of October, you have to raise 4 PRs, which is pull requests. More about that, if you're confused about that, then I think it would be covered in the Git GitHub session. So stay tuned for that. But so basically, you have to contribute 4 times into a repository which is approved by Hacktober. More on that again would be told by our guest speaker. So yes, and you will in turn get a swag kit, which will consist of a T-shirt and some stickers. So basically, you will be contributing to the community, and even the mentors would be there. And talking about our event of Hacktober, then we are actually collaborating with 3 other GDSCs, which is Manipal University, Jaipur, Indus University, and LJ. And so we are gathering some repositories so that we can help you guys in contribution, and we can generally increase our knowledge as well while communicating with you.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
that
Thank
is
you,
it
Mir.
about Hacktober. Yeah.
Can I add something on top of that, or it's fine?
Sure, sure.
Yeah. So the whole thing about Hacktober was, when I started, not contributing, but I started learning about things, it came through Hacktober in a way. I went on GitHub, I tried to search for things, I tried to look at what people are doing, what everyone else is doing. And, I tried to find some events or maybe some organizations where, things interested me, you see. And that's how, like, I think most people start learning about GitHub, learning about what open source is. So like October is that time of the year where you see a lot of new people starting to get into something new. So Hacktober is something along the same spirit. So yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Okay.
Also, guys, if you are planning to start your open source career, then this is the best time you can get started, because it is really a beginner friendly, you can say, a fast for open source enthusiastic to start that journey.
Yes, and we'll be having repositories from the community, and we will actually guide you through it, and we'll also help you if you're stuck anywhere in opening a first PR, for example. And there will be a detailed session, obviously, on Sunday. And I hope most of you participate. There are also, as an incentive, there is also goodies, but that shouldn't be our main motive, obviously. So yes, hope to see you there.
Meanwhile, if anybody want to know about any other department in depth, they can come up and ask a question.
Okay, no issues. I think it's already 6 right now, so we'll just begin with Jaideep Bhaiya's session. All right, I'll just ask him to join now. All right, Jaideep Bhaiya is here. I'll just share my screen real quick. Okay, so we actually have a few folks joining from different universities. So I'll again introduce a little bit of myself and then we'll go to Jaideep Bhaiya. Hey folks, if you are new, if you are just joining right now, then I'm Jay Gohil. I'm the current Google DSC Lead for Pandit Deendayal Energy University. And I also have a few other positions that you can see with IBM, Intel Deep Learning. I'm also an author and researcher. And my focus is always on to make sure that I provide help with the community and I can just help everyone to just further advance in their career. All right, that's pretty much me. I would like to talk more about Jaideep Bhai actually. So, for this particular year, we have GDSC Mentors with us. We, of course, have Jaideep Prasad. We have Saudya Bose Bhaiya. He's also here. And we have Debayan Ganguly. So, Saudya Bhaiya, Jaideep Bhaiya, if you just, give a little bit of introduction about you. I'll actually talk about Jaideep Bhaiya after this. So, Saudya Bhaiya, if you can just, talk a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. A very good evening. I'm audible, Jay?
Yes, Bhaiya, you are.
Yeah. So I'll not be taking much of the time. It's been a great journey so far with you all, and I'm really looking forward to work with you guys. The only thing that is, it's a kickstart. It's a month of contributing. I wish all the very best those who are looking forward to kickstart their career. We all are here to guide you, mentor you, learn from you, and obviously learning together. So I'll be requesting everybody to be sharp and focused on today's event. You'll be getting lot many insights, and obviously congratulating Jai and wishing him his team and him all the very best for this session. Yeah, so it's all about the Oktoberfest today, and all the very best, and I hope you will be enjoying this today's event. Yeah, thank you, Jay, for this.
Yeah, thank you, Bhaiya. Yes, sure. So moving forward, we have today's speaker Jaideep Prasad. He is the CEO of Mentro. Mentro is Bhaiya will actually of course talk about Mentro, but if I just give a really short description about Mentro, then Mentro is a really good community that he's trying to build where you don't have to pay anything. You get free resources, you get free access to a lot of opportunities. Jaideep Bhaiya always keeps posting opportunities for students on LinkedIn and also on the Discord community. So it's a really good community that he's trying to build. He's also an SWE at Vedantu. He has been a GSOC mentor and a GCI mentor. He's also participated and he's also into FOSS Asia, if you know what that is. And he's also ex-Geo and Entrel. So he is a person who has really vast experience in tech and more than experience, he actually has really vast amount of skill set when it comes to tech. So I really hope that you folks enjoy today's session because he'll be letting you folks know about open source, Hacktober, GitHub, and how you can pursue forward. We'll also have the Kahoot, the quiz, and we'll also provide the certificates at the end to the people who have been active. You can participate in the quiz, and the top participants will also get access to. So really, there's an app. There's an app called Mentro, and on the people who are the top participants right now, they'll be given points on the app, and using those points, you can have a conversation with top folks who are working in the top tech companies like Microsoft, Google, Geo, and all these companies. You can actually book a session. You can have a one-to-one conversation with them. So I really hope that you folks enjoy the session and enjoy the knowledge that Bhaiya is going to share. And I would really like to know who gets the chance to have the conversation with someone from the top tech companies. All right, so Bhaiya, now I'll just give it back to you. The event is yours now.
Yeah, sure. Thanks a lot, Jay, for the introduction. First of all, am I audible enough?
Yeah, you are.
Yeah,
Jay,
cool.
can you please turn on your camera, Jay? I think you are not visible, Jay.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, please.
So, yeah, am I visible now? Is it good enough?
Yeah, it's fair enough.
Yeah, awesome. So cool. So guys, first of all, thanks for joining in today. So it's going to be somewhat a very valuable session for you guys. I hope so, right? That's why we all have gathered here, right? So without wasting any further time, I'll try to quickly share my screen. So Jay, could you provide the control?
I just
Yeah. Sure.
I'm just giving you the rights.
Yeah.
Okay, you can set the screen now.
Yeah, cool, awesome.
Okay.
Yeah, one sec.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, is it visible now?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Cool, guys. So let me start with today's session. It's still visible, right? Like my presentation.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah, awesome. So let me just start with the presentation then. Cool. So first of all, guys, so today's workshop, as you might have been knowing, that people Jay and his team has already made their announcements about what session it will be, right? So essentially, we will be talking about Git and GitHub, right? Because since essentially it also has been the season of Hacktober Fest, right? And I'm sure that you guys will be willing to contribute and see actually what the season holds for you, right? And looking forward to big programs like Google Summer of Code, right? Outreachy and programs like this, like Hacktoberfest, really serves as a base of going ahead for such programs ahead in your future, right? So I think this is going to be a really fruitful session if you can take some value out of it, and we will discuss some more things which we have in store for you, as Jay was mentioning, right? Like there will be some exciting announcements for everyone who has joined in the session, right? There will be some quizzes, right? There are some awesome perks which we'll be discussing towards the end of the session. So I believe that everyone will be sticking towards the end of the session so that we can discuss about each and everything, right? So yeah, awesome. So going ahead, like I won't be spending much time here. I think Jay already gave a pretty warm welcome, an introduction for me, right? So essentially, currently I am associated with something of my own, right? Like I'm currently building a platform called Mentro, right? So you guys can check out the website. It's a mentro.tech, right? You to get the idea that what actually we are doing, right? So essentially, it's a platform, for students and job seekers, right? Like which majority of people who have joined in the session are, right? So essentially, it's a very accessible platform, right? Where you get all the resources if you want to learn any kind of domain, right? Let's say you are interested in learning web development or Android development or DSA, right? So there are a hell lot of domains you will find, and everything, all the resources which are available for free, we like Mentro provides you in the fully structured and organized way, essentially, right? So that is something which you might want to take a look at. And of course, on the parallel side, like you can once you are preparing for any internship or job, right? Or maybe your interview is scheduled for the next week, right? You can actually schedule one-on-one sessions with, as Jay was mentioning, right, with the top professionals who are currently working at top fortune companies, right? So they are there to guide you out, right, at any point of time, right? So yeah, so that is something which I am currently associated with, and I'll be sharing more details and more announcements with you, like in the coming slides as well, right? And of course, in the past, I've been part of Google Summer of Code twice. I've worked at Vedantu, Trell, Geo, companies like, and a lot of startups as well, right? I've been doing open source for quite some time now. Like it's been around like 2+ years, like around 3 years or so, right? I've been an active contributor over many projects, right, including Google's Flutter as well, right? I have contributed there as well, right? So they have been an active maintainer as well. So you can of course look me up on GitHub as well at Jaideep, right? You can see all the links, right? So now jumping into what really the session is about, right? So now the very first point, you will find it very overwhelming, right, at the very first instance, because you see a lot of sentences here, right, which might overwhelm you. Like even looking at the very first point, I myself feel overwhelmed, right? So let's just break it down, right? Like what Git is actually, and there will be some new terms which you'll be might be hearing for the first time, but definitely we will be breaking it down, right? So Git is essentially nothing but it's actually a VCS. Right now, what is VCS? We'll be diving deep into that part as well. So let's just say that it's a VCS, right, for maintaining a large code base, right? Like let's just assume up to that, right?
So it's essentially used for, like coordinating work, like if people are working from places all around the world, right? Like it can be really, overwhelming and, intimidating to, if say multiple people are working on something similar, like on the same code base, right? From like faraway places, right? It can be like really difficult for them to, maintain. And like, let's say if I am making change in one file and the other person is making change in the same file, so it can get really like who is making changes at which lines exactly, right? So that is why Git was essentially, and even like before Git, like VC, the concept of VCS essentially, like which was even discovered, right? So we'll be diving deep into it, right? So for now, like let's just assume like let's just forget all the definition and all the, all these technical terms. So let's just assume that, it actually serves as a guardian and code tracker for your code base, right? So it essentially maintains everything for you, and you can actually, see all of your history, whatever work you have been doing for the past, let's say 2 years or 1 year, right? So it actually holds in the entire history, and you can actually work in parallel with multiple people on something same, right? So yeah, so of course there are some new words here, so we'll be, taking a deeper look into that as well, right? So now coming to that, what is VCS, right? So in the earlier slide, we, discussed that there is something called VCS, right? So now talking about what VCS is essentially, like, it's something which was discovered, even like Git is based on the concept of VCS, right? Like Git is a VCS, right? Essentially, that is what Git is, right? So as you can see that, the version controlling system, helps in, handling by, maintaining what sort of changes which have been done over the past, let's say up till the point when your project was made, right? All the changes which you have been doing day by day, right? Like all the history, right? Like let's say you're doing some change on some particular file on today, and like let's say tomorrow you will be doing some changes on some other file, right? So Git actually, saves the entire history for you. Like if you follow some basic commands, like if you use Git pretty well, right? Like there are some basic commands which will be, taking a look at as well, right? So if you do that, like Git can actually, save you a lot of time, right? Even in the future, right? So like if you don't need to remember on what day you did what, right? Or in what file who made this particular change, right? There are a lot of features, like, right? Like there are concepts of branches, merging, and, a lot of more things as well, right? So yeah, so this is essentially what VCS stands for, right? So VCS is, something which, handles and maintains your entire, project for you, right? Like essentially it will store all the history, right? For you, right? So that you don't have to worry about it, right? So now, breaking Git down into something more relatable, right? Like which, since we are people from computer science background, right? So, we understand some things which are relatable to that portion, right? So as you can see, like I have, found this picture, and like, this is quite something which looked pretty interesting to me, and I use it a lot of times, in wherever I, teach Git and GitHub, right? So essentially, Git is something which sits on top of your file system, right? And it helps in manipulating your files, essentially, right? So you can think Git as something like a tree, like if you can see, like here there is an image as well, right? So you can see, think Git something about this tree, right? Where, all these, if you see closely, like there are these nodes, right? Which look similar to the leaves of a tree, right? So essentially, each of these leaves is something which we called commit, right? And each of this commit, actually stores information about like what change you made on, let's say, on some particular point of time, right? Like let's say if you're doing some changes today, and before logging out, right, in the night, like you save that change, right? You commit that change. So essentially, Git creates a leaf for you, right? Like this sort of leaf in the entire tree, which you can refer to at any point of time and see that what actually the changes that you had made, right, at that point of time, essentially, right? So this is like something which I found pretty relatable, and I definitely feel that all of you guys, since we are everyone from the CS background, so like this is something which is pretty relatable, right? Like we can think Git as something of this, right? So yeah, so this is what something about Git, right? Now coming to the next portion, that what is a repository, right? Now when you're working at maybe like companies as well, right? Like you know what they will do, like they will have their code base in some sort of repository, right, online, like maybe it may be on GitHub or GitLab or somewhere, some other service, right? So they will provide you access, and you need to, you know, like clone the repository down and then work on it, right? So essentially what exactly repository is, right? So, you know, a repository is something which Git is based upon, right? Like the tree which we discussed about, right? So you can think that tree as a, you know, repository, right? And the repository will contain, you know, a set of commits, right? Like all the branches which you are seeing, right? So Git also has the concept of branches. So the concept of tree essentially is pretty relatable, right? Like you can think Git as of a tree, right? A repository as of a tree, and like the branches which are, you know, coming out of the tree, right, are essentially the branches, right? There is concept of branches as well, and the leaves which we are talking about, right, at the in the previous slide, right? So essentially those leaves are nothing but commits, right, and which holds the information of change done at some point of time, right? The more number of commits you do, the more number of leaves are getting created in one branch, right? So that is what, you know, the concept of Git and repository is about, right? Like Git stores the, you know, entire information in a repository, which you can think about like a certain type of data structure, right? So repository is a data structure for Git, right? Like think it about like that, right? So we know that, you know, there are data structures like stacks, queues, right? So now you can think that repository is a data structure which Git uses, right, to, you know, maintain the entire history of your work, right, in form of the leaves which we are discussing, right, as a set of commits, right? So yeah, so now coming to that, you know, there is something called command line terminal, right, which we call CLI, right? So more often than not, like whenever you guys will be working on, you know, let's say like even for some open source organization or maybe in some company as well, right? Like you will be, you know, interacting with your terminal quite a lot, right? Like, cause whenever you want to make any changes, right, like you will be, you know, you using your terminal to maybe open the project up, right? You will be using, like maybe if you are working in an ID, like more often than not, like IDs have a terminal of themselves, right? Like even VS Code and Android Studio and whatnot, right? So everything has a terminal of itself, and you can actually use you know, Git commands, right? We will be learning more like what Git commands are, right? Like some basic idea about what you know, we need to actually do, right, to you know, leverage the basic benefits of Git, right? So that is where CLI comes into play, right? So it's actually, you know, a command line or a command line interface is like a text-based application for viewing, handling, and, you know, manipulating files on your computer, right? So essentially, with the help of CLI, you can move into directories, right? You can create new directories, you can create new files, right? You can open up new files, right? So you can make changes there. You can use the Git commands to save things, right, in your history, right? So that is what, you know, your command line terminal, like you know, will help you a lot, right? So you know, on Windows you can use something called Git Bash, right? Like if you just search on Google, you can actually download it, right? So once you download it and install it, like you can use like Git commands from there itself, right? So that is what, you know, CLI is all about, right? So now moving on, like as I said, that to leverage the benefits of Git, right, there are some commands essentially, right? So the commands are something like here are a few commands which I'll be like, you know, shedding some light over, right? And I'll also like you know, help you guys out to the exact place where you need to, you know, learn about these things, right? So that is pretty exciting as well, right? Which I'll be sharing, right, in a while, right? So essentially, like these commands, like more often than not, like there are a lot of other commands as well in when I'm talking about Git, right? But more often than not, like these are some of the, you know, popular commands which you guys will be interacting with, right? So essentially, like Git init is something which you do like when you're creating a project, right? This is something which you do at the very first place, right? Like to initialize Git inside that project so that you can actually, you know, maintain all the history, right? And Git add, right? And now moving forward to the Git add command, right? So this is something which you know, let's say you have done all your changes at some point of time, right? You are ready to save your changes, right? So what you do is that, you know, you actually use the Git Add command to make those changes ready for saving, and then you actually use the Git commit command to actually save those changes in the form of a leaf, which we were talking about earlier, right? Like once, as we were saying, that once we save, like a leaf is created in that tree, right, which is essentially nothing but the repository, right, which you can refer to at any point of time, right? So that is what Git commit will do for you, right? And Git status is the command is that which will help you to know the status of like what all changes are going on in the current state, right? So you can use it at any time, right, to see if there are any pending changes which are yet to be saved, right, or any new changes which you are doing which you don't know about, right? So that is something which Git status does, and Git pull and push is something which you'll be more often than doing, when you are like actively contributing to like, or maybe even working at some company or actively contributing to, some open source project as well, right? So whenever, one thing which I, which I should prioritize is that like whenever, you're trying to make a pull request or maybe push some changes like over to your GitHub repository itself, like which is your remote essentially, right? Like you make your changes locally, right, and then you save and like commit those changes, and then you are trying to push those changes on your GitHub remote as well, so that like it's visible to everybody as well. So you use the git push command, right? But even before that, what you should do is that in whatever branch, like more often than not, you will be on the main master branch, right? So what you need to do is that you need to use the good git pull command, right? So that your local changes are up to dated with if there were any changes made, on your GitHub remote, right? Like on the upstream remote, right? You pull those changes, right? You make things updated, and then you push it, right? So now, like this what I said just now, it's like a pretty overview, and these are very few commands essentially, if you see, right? Now, like there might be questions among you that how do we learn about like each of these commands, right? Like is there any structure which we need to follow, right? Like we just can't like let's say we just can't learn first about the git status or git commit and then like learn about git init, right? Or maybe if we don't know what a repository is, right, like, or maybe what git is, right, we don't know, we won't be understanding what these commands actually do, right? So I've got you covered essentially, right? So essentially, if you see, right, like as even Jay was mentioning, right? So if you head over to the Mentro app, right? So I'll request Jay that if you can share the app's link or the website's link on the chat itself, right, for
Yeah, but
everybody.
I have set both the apps and the Discord link in the chat, and I'll also
awesome.
Mail this to the participants who had registered.
Awesome. That sounds amazing, man. So yeah, so essentially, like just to give you a head start, right? Like something you will see something like this, right? So you will see something as open source, right, which is essentially a domain, right? And if you go inside that, like everything is structured properly with like the most best tutorial out there, right? Like essentially, if you don't know anything about Git or how to use GitHub essentially, right, or maybe what a repository is, or maybe even you don't know what VCS is, right? So there you will find like a fully roadmapped way of learning, right? Like one after the another item which you need to learn about or know about, everything is already being done for you. You don't need to like search on Google, search on YouTube and skim through thousands and thousands of results to find what suits you the best. Like Mentro already does that for you essentially, right? So that saves you a hell lot of time, right? And you can actually rely on that part, right? So as you can see, like once you, let's say you are trying to learn more about open source, right, Git and GitHub, right? So you will find everything properly organized and roadmap for you. And like if you're learning about anything, like you can just open that item up and you can learn from the best tutorials, the best documentations, the best videos out there, right, which we have already organized and compiled for you essentially, right? And you get to access all of this for free, right? So that is the best part, right, on Mentro, right? So of course, like you guys should head over to the Mentro app. We have some like almost for all the participants in this, like there are like 50 tokens which Mentro is providing, like just for this session especially, right, like for the participants. So you guys must be like should be heading over to the app essentially, right, because it might be expiring I think by tonight as well, right? So yeah, so now moving forward, right, so now that we learned about all the Git, like even if you go to Mentro and if you like complete the full organized roadmap for you, right, like like what Git does, about the commands, right? So now how do you actually apply them, right? Like you have learned everything, right? Like maybe you already know things, right? So how do you actually learn, how do you actually apply those things, right? And of course on the parallel side you need to always learn as well, right? So like there will be always new things for you to learn in going forward, right? So Mentro has got you covered as well there. So this season what we have done is that we have open sourced our community blog, right? So again, like I think Jay has got the links as well, so I think he can share that as well, right? So we
Yeah,
are
yeah.
actually currently, like there are I think a lot of open issues as well, right? Like our maintainers are doing awesome job, right? Like to open up new issues for new contributors, right? So that you guys can directly jump onto the repository, like pick a issue which you are let's say you're interested in working, right, and just can start contributing proactively, right? Like all the steps are mentioned in the like essentially in the readme file, right? Like if you guys can check it out, right? So that is something which you guys don't need to worry about as well, right? You can join the Discord community as well of Mentro, like there you can ask all your doubts, like whatever you're doing, right? So that is something which you might need to work upon, right? Like this is a great place to apply your skills which you have learned, right? Essentially, like, so now who can actually contribute, right? So essentially we have thought about it, like we did a poll among like inside our community, Discord community, right? And the maximum responses which came are for front end web development and like content writing essentially, right? Because the thing is that like a lot of people what like let's say they are into other domains as well, right? So we have tried to cover everyone, right? So that everyone can learn and contribute, right? So if you're someone who is interested in web development or interested in front end development, essentially you can start picking up development issues. Like if you head over to the issues tab on GitHub, like you will see that there are like if I just open it up, like if you go to the issues section, as you can see, like people have already started doing a lot of things, right? So if my screen is visible, like you guys can see that there are labels, right? So if something is related to development, like you will find the development label here, right? And you can just like know that this is something which is related to the development part of things, right? Like the web development part of things. And again, if something is related to a blog, like a technical content kind of thing, right, you will see the blog post labels, and you can directly, if you're interested in that, you can directly pick that up, you can comment on that issue, and a maintainer will reply you back and assign you to that issue, right? Like as you can see here, right? Like, so yeah, so people have already started working, like it's only the first day of Hacktober Fest, and as you can see, like a lot of activity has already been started to happen, right? So essentially that is something which I wanted to share with you, right? And like this is essentially being done so that everyone of you guys who learn the things, right, like even if you learn from like as I said, like if you head over to Mentro and you learn all the things, right, necessary, and you can just head over to our open source repository and just start contributing, right? There is the Discord community where you have, if you have any questions, right? And now coming to some motivation part, like of course, like everyone will be getting swag packs, right? Stickers, t-shirts, right? And there are some surprise rewards from our side as well for some quality contributors, right? We are really looking forward to see some quality contributions this time, right? Like what one thing which I also want to emphasize is that what more often than not, like people do make the mistake of is that like people think of, like people just run behind swags, and let's say on a lot of repositories which I've seen, like they are fixing some sort of typo in some sort of readme file, right? So this is something which again, like you're not helping anyone, right? You're neither helping yourself, like in terms of your learn and development, neither you are like helping the repository itself, right? So essentially that is something which I really encourage, like pick up issues, like even like if it's a small bug, right, you are fixing in terms of, let's say, the website, or maybe it's a small blog which you are writing, right? But it's actually, you can say that it's actually a contribution, like nevertheless, right? So that is something which I really encourage, rather than just running behind petty things, right? But yeah, of course, these things are really a great motivation. Like even when I started, like these things were a really great source of motivation for me as well, right, to start off with things, right? So yeah, so that is something which I definitely will encourage you guys to follow, right? So yeah, so of course the links will be definitely shared by Jay, I think, on the chat as well, so you guys can definitely head over to that, right? So yeah, I think more or less, like that was it. Like of course we'll be having a Q&A session as well, and of course, like as I mentioned in the start as well, we will have some exciting announcements as well, right? So of course, you can connect with me on LinkedIn, on Twitter, right? You can mail me at jaideep@mentor.tech, right? If you have any kind of questions, or if you have anything to say at all, right? So of course, you can mail me up, right? So yeah. So now coming to an important and a very exciting announcement for all the members who have joined in, right? So we have Mentro have actually come up with something quite exclusive and something quite special, right? Which no one else is like. You will find a lot of these sports creators, these influencers, right, and all these like social media gurus on platforms like LinkedIn and YouTube, right, which are currently like, those people are actually facing the backlash for like the deeds they have done, right? So essentially you will find a lot of these people and a lot of students who are actually insecure, and like they don't know what the actual game is, right? They have been following them, and they have been misguided to a hell lot of extent, right? So what we at Mentor have come up with, we have come up with a pretty practical and which no one tells you about, right? Like what actually the thing is required, right? So we have come up with a pretty like short and crisp program, right? So if you're preparing for your next job or internship, right, or even like, let's say, if you're looking to get started, like something, if you're, let's say you are interested in web development, right? Let's say if you're interested to do data structures and algorithms, or you are looking to improve your code shape, or maybe your competitive programming ratings, right? Maybe you're looking to get a internship in web development field, like a front end developer or a back end developer, right, or an Android developer, like whatever your domain is essentially. So we have like Mentro has got a 2-month program, right, where we like actually pair you, like essentially it's only focused on you, not we. Like I personally absolutely hate the idea of like all these batches, right, like where like 50 to 60 people, 100 people are put in, like they like companies take huge money from them, and they just add them into like batches, right? And like where a course instructor of some sort, like who doesn't has any professional experience, they teach you on stuff like related to something technical, right? So what we at Mentro are doing, we are Mentro are trying to provide something which is pretty industrial, right, which you actually going to need like even when you're joining your internship or your job, right? So essentially we are pairing you one-on-one for the entire duration, right? From software engineers like who are working at top companies, right, like Jay was mentioning, right? So if we have people who are working at Google, Amazon, Intuit, Microsoft, right, PayPal, right? So there are a lot of mentors who are associated with us, right? And this program, I can assure you, like this is the most accessible program and easy for you. Like this is like pretty friendly for you to get into, right, over like all the other, all these batches and all these institutes which we are talking about, right? So this is something which is pretty crisp for you, and you will be actually, I can assure you that you will be actually getting the practical stuff out of it, right? So of course, like more details are there, right? So I'll just share this link, right? Essentially I'll just ask Jay, right? So Jay, like I'm just sharing it over our
Yeah.
meet itself. I'll just share it after the session, right? So yeah, so essentially I'll share this form with you. So people who are interested, right, I'll definitely encourage all of you to register in with this form, and the team like who is working behind this program will get in touch with you, and will be, we will be taking it pretty personally one-on-one with you, that what exactly are you, like what is the program about and how exactly you will be benefited. And I can assure you that you won't be disappointed, right? Because that is what this program is, right, essentially, which nobody tells you, but what the practical thing actually is, right? Like people just run behind money, right? They take, like, they are charging hell lot of like 20,000, 50,000, 30,000 money, and they just put you in some sort of course or batch, right? And at the end of the day, there is nothing productive which you get after, like, whatever the course or the batch you are into, right? So yeah, so that is something which I'll definitely share this form with you. So yeah, so that was it. Like of course I'll now take up session Q&A, right? So yeah, so Jay, like of course, like you guys
Yeah.
can start with the Q&A session, and also like let me just share the form link as well, right?
Yeah, I actually said it on the chat itself. I actually took the bit.ly link and I said it in the
Right.
chat itself.
Awesome. So let us know, like, if the link is working, right? Like if it's
Yeah,
working or
folks,
if it's
if
not working.
someone can just confirm. Yeah, if you
Yeah,
can click on the link and access the form.
Yeah. Please confirm, guys.
Yes, it is working.
Yeah, awesome.
Okay.
Cool. So
All
I'll
right.
encourage everyone, like it's something so read about the description which is written. I'll also encourage about that, right? And then register on the form, and like the team will definitely get in touch with you to get you onboarded, right? So yeah, so cool. So I hope that that was a really valuable session, and of course we'll be taking questions now, and of course we can move towards the conclusion of the session as well, right? So yeah.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Bhaiya, for everything. I think this will be a good start for a few folks to start your open source journey. Open source, I would say open source actually consists of everything. If you know about AI/ML, if you know about cybersecurity, if you know about blockchain or app development, website development, then all these things are good. But you can say that open source actually takes care of all these fields. So even if you are a person who is into AI/ML, then you can, of course, get into open source. And open source is a place where you can directly contribute to projects that impact the lives of millions of people. Again, because that's open source, a lot of folks work on it, and you can be a part of it, right? And right now, Hacktoberfest is the best opportunity for all of you to start your open source journey. There are, of course, the perks of swags and everything, but I would say, the main benefit that you will get will be, about just learning how you can contribute to open source, and just getting into the field. You will really like the community, because the open source community is one of the best communities, if not the best, out there, right? So right now, you folks can ask us any questions regarding any of the stuff that we talked about, or if you have anything regarding, let's say, career, or how do you get started with Hacktoberfest or anything. So basically, if you have any questions, then do let us know. All right, yeah. So that's kind of it. I'll just mute myself now. You folks can unmute yourself, or send your questions in the chat box if chat box is accessible by you guys. Okay. So Jay, can you just confirm whether you are able to Jay Patel? So can you just check whether the chat box is accessible or not?
Yeah, it is accessible.
Yeah, right. So if you folks have any questions, then you can put them in the chat box, and you can also unmute yourself if you want to just have a conversation with us.
Jay, did you share the official GDS's Discord link?
Yeah. I'll be sharing that in just a while. I'm just taking the.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll be sharing the Discord link as well as the feedback form just after a while.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Just do one thing. Like set the permission like never expired link, because sometime it get expired. Yeah.
Yeah. I made sure of that. It is a link that doesn't get expired. So even if you folks, if you want to share the link somewhere else, so you can do that as well. And the same goes for Mantro. The link is non-expiring, so you can also share this with your friends and communities. It will work forever. All right, now we'll just move with the Q&A, and you folks can just start asking your questions. It can be any dumb question. Don't worry about any judgments. Even if you have really basic questions, then you can move forward and ask us. Also from the core committee, because a lot of you folks don't know Jaideep, and if you have a lot of doubts from the session, then you can go ahead.
Cool. I think also, like, if any of you guys have any kind of doubts or in regards to, like, let's say open source or whatever you're trying to do, you can always join the Discord community. I think the links have been shared already, so you can, like, there are mentors, like there are people who, like, the community, the entire community is there, right? So everyone is willing to help you out, right? So don't feel like introvert or something. Like, everybody is here to help each other, right? So that is the entire motive of for which Mentro stands for and what we are trying to do, right? So yeah, cool. I think, like, Jay, even like you can always share the feedback form as well, right? So
Yeah, for sure.
join the Discords and all everything.
Yeah, we'll
and
keep all the links in the feedback form itself. So what I'll do is that after they submit in the acceptance or the last page that we get in Google Forms, I'll just keep all the links of Mentro and the Discord link and all of the stuff.
Awesome, great. Yeah, so in that way, like, even if you guys have any doubt, you can always, after the session as well, you can ask
So
questions.
it might be the fact that right now, because you don't know much about open source, you literally don't know what to ask. So no issues. You can just get better, and then you can head over to the mentor community and you can ask the questions there. Also, I saw someone raise their hand, I guess.
Yeah, I think Harsha.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, so I have a question. Like, I registered for Oktoberfest, and like I get that we have to like need to pull request for pull request. Like, but I like registered. So where do we find like the genuine repositories, approved repositories that we can, pull request on? Like,
Sure. So yeah, so I think, like, if you're looking for repositories, so of course one ready-made repository which I shared with you, like of our community blogging website, right? If you are, so Harsha, like, what's your tech style? Like, are you into like web development, or do you write technical content
yes,
or
I'm
something
into
like
web
that?
development.
Yeah,
I'm into
awesome. So I think so our repository is a Hacktoberfest approved repository, right? So you can actually start your contributions over there, right? And even talking to like more repositories, if you want to contribute, of course, like there you should always look to learn and grow your horizon as well. So what you should be looking for is that what there is a section of topics, right? Like, I'll share the screenshots in our community Discord as well, right? Like, in the topics, like there should be a Hacktoberfest topic associated with the repository, and if that topic is there, essentially, like, that means that repository is part of Hacktoberfest, right? If it's not there, that means that that repository is not, like, essentially a part of Hacktoberfest, right? So yeah, so to reduce your searching time and all, like, our repository itself is part of Hacktoberfest. People have already started contributing. So yeah, so I think that's a great place for you to kickstart your Hacktoberfest contributions, right? So yeah,
okay, awesome. Thank you.
Sure.
All right. Jai Panchal, yeah, you can go ahead. We have a lot of Jais here.
How do I contribute to the repository you showed, sir? And
Yeah. So
how do I go through workflow of the contributing?
Yeah, sure, sure. So if you go to the link of the repository, right? So all the steps which you need to follow, like how exactly you need to work, let's say, or what are the steps essentially, right, to send your first pull request, right, and how you will be eligible for the rewards and all the kind of things which are required, right? Essentially, what you asked the question about. So everything is written in a stepwise manner in the readme file, right, of the repository, right? So what you need to do, there are like 2 to 3 steps, right, which you need to, there is a application form, then you need to register on the Hacktoberfest website as well, and then like you need to clone the repository, like you need to fork the repository, right, on your GitHub account, right, and then you need to start, like you can create branches, right, and start your work, and then create a pull request, right? So if you will join, if you are in the mentor community, like we'll share a list of, like, videos and resources for you, right? Like for extremely like beginner people, like who don't know like how exactly to send a pull request. So we have got you guys covered as well, right? Of course, you can learn from the Mentro app as well, but to be more helpful for, like, to be more valuable, like the community will be sharing a list of things, right, which you can refer to know exactly like how to exactly like make your first contribution to repository, right? So yeah, but yeah, of course, to answer your question, like all the steps are mentioned in the readme file, right? If you just go to the link of that our repository, right, like, and read the file there, right, whatever it is written, so there are all the steps are mentioned there, right? So yeah.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Cool.
Okay, I also think we have another one from Dhruv Sirodaria. So, Dhruv, you can ask your question.
Yeah, I'll go very quickly. The Hacktoberfest terms condition says that I acknowledge that I'll be disqualified indefinitely from Hacktoberfest if I submit two invalid pull requests. So how would I
Right.
classify invalid pull requests?
Awesome. That's a great question. So essentially, like, what the maintainers do, right? Like if you have submitted a pull request, right? So we have a lot of labels, right? Essentially, like even if you see that, like on the issues section, right? Like there are labels like good first issue, there are labels of development, blog post, which I hope you guys saw, like when I was sharing the screen, right?
Yes.
So essentially, like if your pull request is labeled as, like there is a label as invalid or spam, right? There are labels of these, right? So if two of your pull requests are like, if the maintainer or the admin of certain repository like marks your pull request like with those kind of labels, right? So essentially that means that you can't continue contributions to for essentially this year's Hacktoberfest. But of course, like it's not only about Hacktoberfest. You can always like keep on contributing. Like as I said, there are a hell lot of other programs, and open source is year round, right? Like you should be looking to contribute like throughout the year and not just for the sake of Hacktoberfest and this season. But yes, like according to the Hacktoberfest guidelines, like if two of your pull requests at any repository are labeled as invalid or spam, right? So you won't be eligible for the rewards and stuff, right? So yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Awesome.
Okay, so is anyone? Oh, okay. Yeah, Nene, you can ask. I
My
think,
question.
by the way, this will be the last question, I guess, because we are really running out of time and Bhaiya is also busy. So, yeah, Ne, you can ask your question and then we'll just, yeah,
Okay,
go ahead.
my question is not related to this like Hacktoberfest and all the stuff. My question is normal question. Like I am a beginner, okay, and I want internship for like my certifications and further requirements. And LinkedIn is, yeah, LinkedIn is best for getting internship, but I am not getting any this type of post like internship, and also how can I get internship?
Great. So essentially, as I was saying, what LinkedIn is, is going in the direction of like it's losing its value, right? Like even if you see the job section of LinkedIn, like there is a job section, right? Like LinkedIn has a section for jobs. Like if you look at the job section, you will find a lot of spammy kind of jobs, like jobs from like around the world, like of companies which you don't really know about, or you don't want to work at, right? So it's pretty hard to skim out opportunities from LinkedIn, like today, at least today. I don't know like if LinkedIn will improve in the future, right? So that is exactly why like there is a opportunities section on Mentro, right? So if any of you guys have checked out Mentro, or if you will be checking out Mentro, like there is a separate section for opportunities where each and every day I mark, right? Each and every day new and latest like internships, right? In India, especially, right? Like be it web development internships, uh, Android development internships, like, essentially software development internships, technical internships, right? Even fresher jobs, right? Like it gets updated every day, right? Essentially, so you can always be updated on that part every day, and you can apply to them, right? If you have a fair enough resume, right? And now coming to the part that if you are actually preparing, right? Like if you are actually preparing to get a good internship of having, let's say, a stipend range of above 15K or 20K in the software development line, right? So essentially that is so if you're really looking, if you're really committed, right? Like if you really believe that you should be, you should be on the right track, so we are here, right? As I said, that the exclusive program which I shared, so it will be a 2-month program, right? Where you will be able to choose a certain track, right? If you are looking for, if you're really interested into development, right? Let's say if you are looking
Yeah.
to, a web development internship or an Android development internship, right? So there is a
Actually,
development track, right? And of course, like if you are looking for, to be better at, like, just coding, right? Let's say if you're looking to be better at competitive coding, right? So there is a track for that as well. So we pair you up with one-on-one, right, for the entire 2-month duration, where one mentor will closely, prepare you, right, through quality work which you can include in your resume, right? And we will be taking care of your application to internships and jobs as well, right? And we'll make sure that you get get that internship, right? So that is what this program is all about. And like if you're really interested in it, I am sure that Jay has shared the links, and do register, and the team will definitely get in touch with you and make sure you are onboarded, right? So yeah, so of course, so I think that will be it. Let me know if if you have more questions. So yeah, I think we can end the session as well, right? So yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
sorry, like my last question. Actually, virtual training programs and internships are same or not?
Yeah.
Like,
No, so got your question.
should I
So
can I add this in my resume? Like, I am a part of Deloitte's virtual training program
right.
presently,
Awesome
and
question.
yeah,
Awesome.
it's like reputed company. So, can I add this in my resume or not?
So you can't add what you like. I've seen a lot of students doing this mistake, right? So you can't add this actually as a part of your your experience, right? So what you can do, like, yes, it's a certification, so you can add it in your certification
Yeah,
selection,
actually,
right?
they provide a certification like you
Yeah.
complete this virtual training program and likely actively contributing to this community and all the stuff.
Right. So what you can do is that you can add it to the your certification section. You can't actually add it to your experience section, right? That to be very clear. And if you have really done some sort of project, or maybe worked on some sort of project during that training program, right? So what you can do, you can add it in your project section, right? So in your resume, there are two sections. Like one is the experience section, and one is the project section, right? So if you feel like, again, like that, it depends on what kind of training you did, like I don't know about it. So if you feel that you have worked on some sort of project, like you can add it in your project section, but other than that, you can only like look to include it in your certification section, right? No, nothing other than that, right? So yeah.
Okay. Yeah, actually, that's a virtual training program, but likely like real internship or real life
Yeah.
programs like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we
So
have to
actual
work.
internships and jobs are different
Yeah.
than the virtual programs, right?
Yeah.
So it's completely different. You get paid and a lot of things happen, right? So yeah, so that is something which is different, and that is something which you should include in your experience section, and not the virtual training program stuff, right? So yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Awesome.
All right. So that was kind of it, the Q&A session. If you folks have any further questions, then you can of course join the Mentor as well as the GDSC community. In both the communities, we have folks who will answer your questions and you can get your doubts cleared, right? I have said the link tree, the repository for the Mentor, the app. I have actually said all the links that we mentioned. I also send the GDSC Discord link in few minutes. But almost all the links are already there. I'll also send a mail to everyone so that if you are not able to access the chat, then you can just get the link from the email. All right. Now I wouldn't take much of your time, Jaideep. So like I'm really thankful for you because you took the time and you came for the event today. And I hope that you folks also learn a lot of things from here. Now we'll just have a really informal session on Hacktober and everything. So if you folks want to leave, then you can. And if you want to stick around, just have a short conversation about Hacktober and everything, you can do that as well. I'll just share the GDSC Discord link and the feedback form. All right. The folks who will fill the feedback form, that's how we will know that whether you have, attended the event or not. So through the feedback form, we'll send out the certificates. All right. So just in case you're wondering about the certificates, then don't worry. Through the feedback form, we'll know. All right. So that's kind of it. I'm just sharing it now. Again, thank you, Bhaiya, for coming, for sharing your experience and a lot of insights on Git and GitHub open source and just answering the question of students.
Yeah, awesome, Jay. Thanks for having me as well. Right, hope everyone got a lot of value from the session as well, and I am sure that people are going to take something out of the session and bring it forward into their careers as well. Right. So yeah, hoping to see you guys in the community. I hope everyone joins in and hoping to learn and grow together. Right. Awesome. Thank you, Jay. Thanks the entire community. Right. So take care, everyone. See you soon.
Yeah. Thank you, Bhaiya. Yeah.
Bye, guys. Yeah.
Okay, we are just, I think, Khushi, you can share the feedback form and I'll just share the LinkedIn, not LinkedIn, Discord link. Okay, so Khushi had shared the feedback form. You can fill that out. All right. Try to give your honest opinion, of course. Your certificates won't be affected by the feedback that you give, right? I'll just quickly share the Discord as well. And by the way, if you folks just want to start with the informal talk on Hacktober and everything, then you can. I'll just turn off my camera and mic. Mihir and Nachiket, you both folks can just move forward. By the way, they are the open source leads if you don't know yet. You can ask any questions to them. And even if you don't have questions for open source, but about any other field, for example, application development, if you want to build an app, then we have Dhruv and Devans here. So just start asking your questions. I'll share the link, and if you don't have questions, then you are free to leave. All right.
Okay, so talking about Hacktober, I think everyone knows now what Hacktober is. And some of us also had some doubts regarding where to find the repositories. So for that, I have actually shared
Did his connection go? Is mine go?
Okay, so are you folks able to hear me? Because I'm not able to hear me here.
I think his internet died. Yeah.
Oh, okay. No issues. Nachiket, you can. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go
So
ahead.
basically, what he was gonna say is that he has shared one of the repos where a person named. Basically, a person has listed down some good repositories where you can contribute and everything in the fields of web dev and app dev mostly. Like most of the tech stack involves you to know like web dev frameworks like JavaScript, like TypeScript, CSS, and everything like that. But yeah, as far as I think we talked a lot about Hacktober Fest. If we are going to have a session on it on Sunday, so like where we'll be discussing about why, like not why, but how you can actually contribute to it and what will be the procedure and how we are going to go about it. But just to give a sneak peek, we are collaborating with 3 other GDSCs from which he mentioned earlier. And we are basically creating a thread or a forum for a GitHub page, if you may, where you can actually, go and search through what all the repositories are about, and we'll be sorting them on the basis of the fields that they represent, right? And we are also thinking of doing it in terms of language specific repositories so that people who are just confident in one language can also, look through it and and have something where they can actually work upon. But yes, do you guys have any questions? Like, I feel the whole thing about swags is something that, is pretty exciting for beginners. But one thing that it has also, is that, like, one thing that has also inculcated in the whole atmosphere of open source is that people do that just for the rewards like those, right? Which is something that I personally don't like. But yeah, it's always a good thing to have. That's when. But yes, do you guys have any questions? I think it's mostly our subcommit, like our core commoners.
The event is on Sunday, right? 11.
Yeah.
Before that, do we have any meetings related to that, like what we should do in this or?
So yeah, we're basically